Which one do you think is going to do better? The expensive art supplies or the Mondo Llama? We're going to check it out. The cheap art supplies versus the very expensive ones. Painting these wooden objects that were in the box from Target. So these wooden objects are super cute. There's a mug, there's some candy, and there's also a snowflake. So we're going to go through this and we're going to see which one does better. The first one we're going to look at is a candy. And we're going to paint half of it with the Mondo Llama and the other half with the Posca Markers and see which one is better. So the reds are pretty similar between the two and the whites are similar. So this one's going to be almost the same, I have a feeling. I'm putting the red on from the Mondo Llama kit. I'm using the brushes that came with it, the smaller one. It's actually a fairly decent brush. I don't know if it would last a long time, but for this all intents and purposes of putting the red on today, it was fine. So I'm putting it on the side over here. I am having to reload my brush a lot. I don't know if you can tell that, but the color it's not super pigmented. It's probably pretty watered down. So I'm having to come over here. So I'm going to start on the white and it's going on pretty good. It's the same as before. It's a little bit not as, like it doesn't, I have to reload the brush a lot basically. I feel like when I use this because the coverage, if you want to get good coverage, you have to, I think you could probably do like another coat too, but I just wanted to do one coat to see what the one coat would be like and compare that with all of the different items. Now I'm starting in on the Posca marker and I can already tell that it is quite faster. So I outline it first and then I'm coloring it in and it's just going super quickly. Posca markers are great for that. They go on super nice. This white had a little bit of an issue with so I pumped it and now I have more than enough white. That's the good thing about Posca too, is if it is looking a little dry, you can pump it and more marker will come out. If it doesn't come out, then that means you're probably out of ink. You need to get a new color, but they do sell them individually, so that is great. For this first one, I feel like the Posca marker took the cake. It was so much easier to put down than the other one. So it won in my book. And the coverage was a lot better. The second one we're going to paint is this snowflake. You'll see the first thing right away is that the color palette in the Mondo Llama is very limited. There's only 6 colors. And I really want this to be blue. The Holbein paint that I have, it only has 5 colors, but they're all primary colors. So the Target had 6 colors, but I was able to have blue because of the fact that there were primary colors in this. And then I also made a lighter blue because I really wanted that contrast in there. And right away I am noticing that this Holbein paint goes a lot further. Look, I still have not touched up my paint. Now I just did. I feel like it's so pigmented. It goes on so easily. It goes on a lot faster than the other one did. And right now I'm really getting into these little detail lines right here because of the snowflakes. So I'm using that brush that came with the Mondo Llama and it works okay. So now I'm getting into the white. I'm going to put that around the edge of the snowflake. It's kind of a star snowflake, don't you think? Yeah, I think so. But it's going on pretty good. I'm also working on my painting skills here. I'm sure some of you guys could do it better. But I think I did okay. And then now I am going to put the paint back because I had way more. I got out way more than I actually needed. And I'm like, well, I don't want to waste this because it could be kind of expensive. And so now I'm putting on the light blue. I almost wish it was a tad lighter, but I think it's cute, like this little contrast. I like doing contrast whenever I can, especially like when you have the same color and you put a little white in it, because then it kind of stays in the same palette right there. You can see, and it looks super nice. I'm not having to reload it a ton. I'm gonna have lots of leftover paint there just because I put in way too much. So next time I use Holbein, I know, okay, I don't need that much because a little bit goes a long way. So it costs more money, but you're going to use less. So you can use it longer, right? And here we are. I'm almost finished with all this half. And then next, I am going to use that leftover paint and see how far that goes. Look, I'm covering this canvas with it. I just wanted to illustrate how much paint was in here. And I also didn't want to waste it. So I thought, ooh, this is a pretty blue. A little bit out on the table. That's to be expected. So it's going down pretty good. And then I am just touching up this little bit right here before I use all of the rest of the paint, because the brush and me, I'm not perfect, and so I wanted to make sure wherever I was that I was able to get, like if I got blue on the dark blue, that I could get it off. And I am actually getting to the end of this. I'm not quite having as much as I needed to finish this, so I'm gonna come over here and I am gonna add a little bit of water. And look, there we go. We're good. Now I'm just touching up the little bit of white right here because I had some blue on it. Next up is this green from the Mondo Llama. This green color is actually really pretty. I did the blue because I feel like blue is more of a snowflake, like sky color. But I actually ended up liking this green. I'm making the light green like I did with the Holbein paints, but I'm having to use it a lot more. So I'm not using the light green quite yet. I'm using the green from the color palette that they provided us. And it's pretty. I didn't realize, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty. I did want a blue though, because I should be able to get a blue, right? Like it's nice to have that color choice. And I'm going to show you here in a minute how I can make that same exact green with the Holbein. Because when you have primary colors, you can make lots of different colors. You can put something up like a palette and be like, hey, I want this color, and you can make it if you know the recipe for it. And right now I am putting on the light green. And speaking of recipes, that would be a cool video, is like recipes on how to make different colors. Like I made Barbie pink. You can see like a short that I did with mild liners because they didn't have one and I made one. All right, so now we're going to come in here. We're noticing I'm having to reload my brush a lot. The coverage is okay. I feel like the paint is maybe a little clumpier, and we're almost done. I actually like how this one turned out. I think it was super cute, and I am now making the same green as I told you before that was on the other side, and I'm adding, I needed a little bit of more white because I feel like it was a little bit dark. But here we go. We have almost the same color from Holbein, and look at the coverage on this. I'm putting it on the back and it almost like filled up the whole thing. It did fill up the whole thing. The Holbein is the winner in my book because the coverage is better, their color palette is better, and I can make more colors. It's really hard to tell once it's put down, but just because of those factors, I like the Holbein better. The last thing we're going to paint, now this one was a little bit of a difference than the other ones, because the other ones were paint, reversing paint versus paint. The last one is Derwent Inktense. And did you know that you can use Derwent Inktense on wood? We're going to try it. And I bet you're commenting in your head, oh my gosh, is that one going to be better than the other one? Because it is not very dark at all. It looks like stain on that wood. I am just putting this first coat on. This is actually my first time using Derwent Inktense on wood, so it's really a learning process for me. I'm getting it wet to spread it around. I'm working on the brown right now. I put the white on. The white wasn't super apparent. I think if I were going to use the Derwent Inktense and I needed white, I would actually use like Posca, but I didn't want to like take away from this cheap versus expensive, because I was like, I want to make sure I use the same supply and I don't add to it, so I can get a really good comparison in here. So I'm on my second round with the Derwent Inktense. Like if you just want to make wood a certain color, Derwent Inktense is actually a pretty good choice. Look at this here. And then you could like seal it in and it would look really cute. The Derwent Inktense is light fast, so it would be great to use for that. Now I'm on my third coat, so this is taking a ton of coats. I'm coming back in here, still looking okay in my book, but it's at least looking a little bit darker. And the colors are really pretty. I feel like they're really super nice, and I really love this red. I love that I have the color choice here, whereas before, and you'll see on the other side, there are not as many color choices, and I'm kind of stuck with what's in the palette. But because I have the 100 Derwent Inktense, I have so many choices. I feel like you could also combine them too, but we're not getting into that right now. Maybe another video we can work on combining the colors of the Derwent Inktense. But right now we have so many color choices that I just chose the one I wanted. I'm coming in here with the brown. It really looks like chocolate. And then this green. I will say the green right here, it kind of bled into the red a little bit. And I think if I had waited until the red was dry, then it wouldn't have blended as much. And the green was dry before I did more coats. So now I'm coming in with this brown. I don't love this brown as much as I like the other brown. It's not the brown I would choose, but I really can't make it darker. I can't make it lighter. This is what it has. The white is probably the one that's better in here because it's paint. The Derwent Inktense white was a little, I could probably do lots and lots of coats of the white and it would look good. You'll notice right now that the paint, yes, right when I paint it, it goes down. It is darker than the Derwent Inktense because it is paint. We're comparing like a pencil ink to paint, which is like probably the most different out of all the ones that we're using today. The Holbein was the closest, and then we had the Posca, which is still a paint, and the Derwent Inktense is not a paint. But we're putting this red in, and I actually like this red that came with it, so I probably want to change that. I think they did a great job with that color palette. I feel like the green was lacking, definitely lacking. It was like too pale for Christmas. It was not a Christmas green. It was more of like just a pastel green. So I'm putting another layer of the Derwent Inktense on here because it really needs it. I feel like I could layer this and like basically just put a whole pencil on there, right? They also sell the Derwent Inktense in pans, which I kind of want to get because I really love the pencils. I don't know if they have as many colors in the pans as they do the pencils. So that probably be like why I wouldn't get the pans, because I have all the pencils already, but you would get, you know, just straight pigment in the pans as opposed to pencils encapsulated in wood. And I don't know how the pigment compares, like how much pigment there is comparatively. So now I'm putting on more of the Derwent Inktense. You can see me going through this again, and I'm touching it up once again. What is this, like the 5th or the 6th coat on this side? It is really brightening up, so you can layer these. You can have lots of color. If this went on paper, you would notice I don't have to do 1 or 2 layers is sufficient. Just because this is wood, it really soaks in all of that ink, and so it's acting more as a soaking, whereas with paper it's not soaking it as much. You can put Derwent Inktense on canvas also. That would be interesting to try. I've done it on fabric, and I feel like we didn't need that much on there because fabric didn't absorb like wood does. Wood just absorbs. And we're putting on more green here. And let's see, using this water brush. So this water brush is a Tombow water brush, and I'll show a little bit in a minute the difference between the two brushes. And I'll leave the links for those below. But yet another layer of the Derwent Inktense. So I feel like the Derwent Inktense is really pretty on wood. It does take a little bit more finesse and practice. Like next time I would use Derwent Inktense, I would know some things like wait for the darker colors to dry in between, and that I will just have to layer it over and over and over again. And that the white is like a little lacking. I mean, I could try again, but I don't know if it would come out any better. But, you know, that's the way it is sometimes with colored pencils or just any medium. You learn as you go, and I'm really glad I tried this because I always wondered what the Derwent Inktense would look like on wood, and now that I saw that, I love it. And I would probably do this again, and I might do this again. Like, Target sells these things all the time, so I think it'd be fun to compare this again for like different holidays and see what we can come up with. And yeah, but for me, the Derwent Inktense probably won a little bit here. But if you want to do quick and easy, I would use the ones that it came in because it was faster. For this video, I used a Waterbrush from Tombow, and I'll leave the link below. And I used the paintbrushes that came in the set. You can tell they weren't very high quality. This one's almost ruined, but we weren't comparing paintbrushes this time. Maybe next time we can do that. In the end result, I preferred the expensive supplies over the Mondo Llama supplies almost every time. The number one reason probably was color choice. I did not have a primary color palette. If they put like red, yellow, blue, white, and black in here, I feel like I could have a lot more to do with this, but they did not. They put in random colors. They put in a green. There was no blue. They did put in red and yellow, but you can't make purple. You can't make anything. You can't have blue. You do have the white, so you can make pastels, but there wasn't just as much work with. So the color choice was limited because of the palette they put in. The other thing that I noticed was with the Posca pens, I loved coloring with them on the wood. They were super fast. You didn't have to use a brush, and they went down super well. I could definitely tell the difference between the very expensive and not expensive. I will say that probably the easiest, if you wanted just to make something super fast, get the Posca pens, because they go on super fast. They look super good. You can layer them and all. The Derwent Inktense take a little bit of time. The Holbein actually didn't take that long, but I thought the Posca pens were super easy and they look super cute. I can see why they're so popular. I hope you guys liked this video. What did you guys think? Did you like the more expensive art supplies? What was the favorite piece that I did? I kind of like the Snowflake, and I like it because I like the 2 halves, and I would actually display that one. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you in the next video.